Book Club! Hey everyone, Dan from One Man Book Club with the Founders Trilogy #1. This book is called Foundryside. It's by Robert Jackson Bennett. I think I'll title this review, They All Can't Be Winners. But the cover was so pretty. I really love the cover. It's even nicer in color. The reason I felt disappointed in this book is because Brandon Sanderson, who I love, my favorite author, gave Foundryside a rare and coveted 5-star review back when it was first published in 2018. And when I saw that, I immediately bought both ebook and audiobook, obviously, because who doesn't? Only I'm crazy, I guess. Because Brandon Sanderson is perfect and he gets everything right, and if he loved it, I'm going to love it too. So then I am very impatiently letting Foundryside sit on top of my Mount TBR for the last 4 years, looking at this lovely cover, looking at it every so often, waiting and dreaming longingly of the day when the last book in the trilogy would be published so I could start. Because again, everyone waits for the series to be written before you start, right? Right? No, okay, I'm the only crazy one. Anyway, the last book was published in June. And so the 4-year wait was over, the time had arrived, and I got to read Foundryside. I was super, super excited to read it. And it was just okay. Darn it, I really wanted it to be awesome. There are a ton of positive reviews for Foundryside, Brandon Sanderson's included. All of the elements of great fantasy are there. And clearly there are fans. The characters are colorful, the magic system is unique, the world is big, and the writing is strong. So I liked it. It wasn't all bad. I liked even the gritty descriptions. I liked the fantasy realistic living conditions of the elite class versus everyone else. The story is really clever too, so I don't want to turn you off from the book. You may enjoy it. I'll get to what I didn't like in just a moment, but first a little on the story. The magic of this world is controlled by scripts of code written onto objects, like actually written onto objects, like magic words written onto things, like wheels or rings or clothes. So the code is written onto the objects, and then the instructions for the code is written in a magic database called a lexicon. It's an art called scriving to make these codes in this lexicon. And so scriving is the magic system, and the more powerful the scriving, the more complex the code, and the more amazing things that you can do with it. Now, the elite ruling class owns the scrivers, they own the knowledge, and they can build foundries that produce the scribed resources that then define this world's wealth. And everyone else is left to fend for themselves, which gives the classic setup of powerful elites ready to be overthrown by brave and scrappy regular yous and me's, and that's the story. Throw in the heir with a conscience, the disenfranchised genius, the thief who has mysterious abilities, and witty sidekicks, and you've got a magical heist story that I should love and obsess over and annoy all of you with my obnoxious hyperbole about it. I should love. I wish I loved. I wanted to love, but I only liked it. It wasn't even necessarily one big thing. It was more like a lot of small things. Like, for example, well, not even for example, it's like I kept finding little dimes, and they were annoying to me, these dimes. And each time I found one of the dimes, I would put it onto a stack. And eventually the stack of annoying dimes got tall enough that it toppled, along with my interest in Foundryside. I found, for example, that the magic system, it was just too complex. On the surface, I bought it, but as the use cases expanded, the explanations got more confusing, and I felt like I was being force-fed justifications for this magic system that I really couldn't grasp, and I was just expected to accept. I added a dime to the tower. The characters were colorful, but they were underdeveloped. They were cool, but I didn't feel any emotional connection to the characters. I added a dime to the tower. There wasn't much world building at all. I mean, there were hints and attempts, but it felt like the city and its inhabitants were like an island with no connection to a hinted at much, much larger world. Dime on the tower. There was a whole lot of grown-up language in this book that I didn't expect, and I also felt it was super out of place in this fantasy novel because fantasy world people don't necessarily talk like people people in our culture, but these people did, and that felt really weird. So, dime on the tower. There was an attempt to make a same-gender relationship, which, okay, but the characters didn't sell it. I didn't have any investment in the relationship. I couldn't believe it. It was totally unbelievable the way it came out and happened. So, dime on the tower and crash. Those were the things that bugged me. It appears most people didn't have the same issues. Maybe you won't either. When you go and read the reviews, you'll see that people love the story. You'll also see that the complaints I had are common among people who didn't enjoy the story. So you'll just have to judge for yourself. If you're good with complex magic and action and you can look past those things I described that bugged me, you're in very good company. And I bet you're going to love Foundryside, probably the trilogy that follows. If not, well, then you can just thank me for saving you from wasting your time. I'm not going to read the rest of the trilogy, so if you want to follow in my footsteps, then you can just say, thank you, you're welcome. Like I said, beware, there's a whole ton of grown-up language, particularly SH words, a whole lot of fantasy violence against humans. There was no sexual content, but like I mentioned, some of you may want to be aware of the same gender relationship that exists nearly entirely in sneaked glances and an unspoken emotion that culminates in a brief kiss towards the end of the book. There's a promise of likely more of that romance in the next few books, but that is the content stuff for you to be aware of. If it sounds fun, because a lot of people do, give Foundryside a try. It wasn't for me, might be for you. Happy reading, everyone.